Hello everyone, welcome back to Project Ozone Reloaded Titan Mode. This is episode 17, and there is a new moon in my sky. Let's take a look. Well, this is no small moon. If we go inside, it's the location of the Nether Gate. The Nether Gate itself has not moved at all. It's in exactly the same spot it was before. I didn't break it down or anything. I just built a nice environment around it to resemble the Nether, and it's inside this sphere that's just sort of floating away from the base. This is sort of what I have in mind over the long term for various portals to different locations in the Project Ozone universe. The next one on the list will probably be the portal to the Ether, and then I will probably construct a portal to the Erebus, since that is what is going to be next in the quest book. I have actually been on somewhat of a building binge between episodes. There's a whole lot more to the base now than just this new moon. If we come out here and go to the elevator and start going down, this is my main workshop level with storage for the moment. This is the level where I've been putting my manufacturing. Here's the power plant level. There's now an empty level below that. And here's the jailhouse level. We'll get back to this in a minute. And then there's an empty level and another empty level. And this is all the way at Y level 2. I'm at the very bottom of the world, and the whole floor here is covered with transparent covers to make sure that slimes don't spawn down here, although I don't have similar protection on the floors above, and so far it hasn't happened. There is a slime chunk over here that's part of my base. This corner over here is a slime chunk, but so far I haven't seen too many slimes, probably because most of the time I'm too far away from this spot for anything like that to actually show up. Okay, so going back up a little bit, this is the jailhouse level. This is where I'm keeping all of my political dissidents. I do feed them well. We've got in the chest here, we've got some bread and water, so they are well fed. These are actually the villagers that I need to get out of the village so that they would breed more, so that I could crystallize their souls. These are far enough away from the building that is serving as a village right now that the villagers will breed more if once these have been removed. So these are villagers that are useful in some way. This one is a pneumaticraft engineer, so it's got this assembly program drill and PCB blueprint, nuke virus. I don't know if it's got any other trades or not. My guess would be no, but just in case I need some of those things. This is an RF tools villager. I can get dimlets and dimensional shards from this guy. There's a structure mineshaft essence there. So there are several of these sorts of villagers down here that trade various things. This agricraft villager, I haven't even bothered with his trade yet because it's so expensive. 46 emeralds and 6 seeds for cow seeds, which I already have. But maybe at some point I'll get desperate and see what his other trades are. So on the other side over here, I have cows. And the only two that I've got actually working right now are one that produces oil. So this is an oil fluid cow, and this one is a blazing pyrotheum fluid cow. They're both hooked up to this rancher. In this sort of arrangement, you can get 3 cows to a rancher, and I've just got the products going into tanks here. So far it looks like I've got about close to 900 buckets of oil, and I've got 358 buckets of blazing pyrotheum. I'll set up more cows. At the moment, the only one I really intended to set up was the oil cow, but I had some cows running around down here, and the rancher caught some blazing pyrotheum, so I went ahead and set up this cow as well, because I probably will want that eventually. Cows are probably a useful way to produce EMC in here because you can get a lot of metal ingots out of them. I haven't done it yet. I have been cataloging my existing cows over here, so like a bucket with whatever it produces next to the safari net containing the cow, so I can tell what it is. This is biodiesel, biofuel, brine, creosote oil, destabilized redstone, diesel, essence, etching acid. So plenty of stuff there. And I've got more cows upstairs and more cows spawning, so I'll eventually have even more cows than I do now. So going up to the next floor that has anything on it, the power plant is really the same as it was before, except that I replaced the two BuildCraft tables that were up here that were making the toast into toast sandwiches with a cyclic assembler. The cyclic assembler is faster, but more importantly, I was having some crashes on startup with the BuildCraft tables. They were occasionally I would get a ticking block exception, and you'd look at the exception report and it would be those tables. So I've replaced it with the cyclic assembler. It's working very well. Cyclic assembler, I guess it's not psychic. And so it's making the toast at this point. That's the only thing I've changed on this level, although I am going to have to start expanding my power considerably quite soon. Over here, not much is different on the manufacturing floor, except that I've got two things. First of all, I have automated these immersive engineering metal presses. This one is producing gears. I actually don't know if I have any gears configured in it for automation right now. I might. I haven't looked. Let me look. No. The one on the top is producing plates, and I have actually set up all of the standard immersive engineering plates in it. The other thing that's new over here is I did go ahead and assemble the Pneumaticraft pressure chamber that I did the quest for last time. I actually have installed more glass than is probably customary here, but I want to make sure I can see in it, and it's a pretty small one. It's not important that you see in it, it's just a little, it's kind of nice to see that it's actually working. For the moment, I haven't done anything with it. I did change, I set up two things in it that were not part of the standard configuration based on what you make it. Actually three. First of all, I've got both an input and an output interface here so that I can automate it somewhat. I can ship items into it through one of these interfaces and ship items out of it through the other interface automatically. The other thing that I did was I went ahead and added two items here. One is a pressure gauge so that I can actually see the pressure that's in the tube, and the other one is this safety tube module, which is an emergency pressure release system. Essentially, this one is set up with a threshold of 3.5 bars, and the way that's controlled is through this redstone signal. It works off of the strength of the signal, which is why this lever has this long string of redstone going here. If you turn this off, it will allow the pressure to go up all the way to 7.5 bars. And of course the pipes can only withstand 5, so you run a high risk of having an explosion there. An inevitable risk if you wait long enough. And so this redstone signal is weak enough by the time it gets to the point here where the threshold is adjusted to 3.5 bars. So you put fuel in this air compressor and it starts increasing the pressure as it burns the fuel, and once it reaches a pressure of 3.5 bars, all of the additional pressure is just vented. That's a little wasteful of fuel, but it does make sure that this thing will never explode, and you can sort of, with this sort of manual air compressor, you can just sort of manage it yourself if you want to avoid wasting fuel, but I wanted to make sure this thing didn't blow up. That should do the trick. Okay, so these lasers are busily working on pulsating chipsets, which are necessary for something I would like to work on today. In addition to some other quests that I'm going to do, it may be that this episode is long enough that I split it into two parts. Just warning you now, because there's a lot to talk about today. And part of it is applied energistics, because I have sort of a minimal temporary AE system set up here just for crafting really processors and stuff like that. And I've got a bunch of AE stuff that I've accumulated in here and some items that I'm gonna be working on very soon here, because I want to start doing some of the quests in that chapter. The reason we're able to do that is because when I got these mechanism quests a little further along, this one right here, Ultimate Alloy, unlocked Chapter Eta, which is Applied Energistics. So this chapter has now been unlocked, and we're going to start working on it today. But first, I want to go ahead and accept all of the quests that are in progress here that have unclaimed rewards. They are all things that I didn't really need to be doing on camera. And there are some other things that I want to work on specifically to advance progress on Chapter 1, Alpha. So let's go ahead and start going with Chapter Alpha here. I did go to the Nether and I killed all these things. Blazes are pretty obvious. I actually didn't kill those in the Nether. I had already killed them in the overworld. I spawned them using the Ex Nihilo barrel with an angry doll and a stone barrel full of lava. Okay. Magma cubes did have to be killed in the Nether. It took quite a while to find them. I will tell you that any size of magma cube will apparently work for this. Spiders, there are a lot of different kinds of spiders in the Nether. It looks like what works for this for sure is the Natura spiders, which have the sort of basic Minecraft tarantula model. And it apparently needs to be the big ones. I'm not 100% sure on that, but that was my experience. Let's go ahead and accept this reward bag. Now, Wither Skull skeletons, I had already gotten 3 of them previously. You don't have to do what it says here, collect them from Wither skeletons from the Nether or pouring witch water on normal skeletons. In this particular mod pack, skeletons that drop these skulls spawn in the overworld. So I've actually got more than 3 Wither skeleton skulls at this point. So we finished that chapter. Let's look what's done in Delta. This is Thermal Foundation, and basically I just did a bunch of these cells and machine frames and tanks that really have nothing unique about them as compared to the first. It's just different materials. So let me accept all of those. And I am accepting hearts where it offers one. Okay, and then in Epsilon, I did a lot of stuff with mechanism, just getting the basics out of the way. Each one of these cables, this one is just the basic cable around one of these alloys, and then this one is that tier of cable around one of these alloys, and so on down the line. So it's not anything particularly remarkable, except that you just upgrade them one at a time as you go along. And then again, this is sort of a hierarchical thing. To make the elite alloy, you take and re-enrich the enriched alloy, this time with diamond. And to make the ultimate alloy, you re-enrich the elite alloy just using a mixture that you pre-mix out of diamond and obsidian. So we'll accept these. And like I said, the ultimate alloy quest, which is for making atomic alloy actually, is the one that opens the Applied Energistics chapter. So let's go and put the cubes away and see, do I have another quarter heart here? It looks like I don't. So let's go ahead and open the reward bags. I've got 2 epics, 5 graders, and 3 goods. Another unbreakable builder's wand. Creepy Doll and Angry Doll, which are quite useless at this point. Light oxygen tanks, tier 1 chance pendant, some artifacts. Let's see what we got here. Fire protection, floating diamond boots of stability with knockback resistance and allow sneaking on air when equipped, 858 durability, fire protection for unbreaking 3, thorns 2, flim flam 1, protection 3. That actually, those are somewhat decent boots. Let me put them aside for now, but I might actually switch to those in a bit. We'll see. Bunch of chance cubes. Whetstone and rolled up newspaper. Okay, let's at least put those in here and move on to the good bags. Cobblestone framework, lamps, and more bug swatting stuff. Okay. Let's see if we can get all that stuff put away and move on to what I really want to start doing today. One of the things that I want to do is I want to go ahead and start making some more progress in alpha, because not only is there the possibility that I may have to do some of this stuff to unlock things, but some of this stuff may be helpful in terms of like power production, something of that nature. So let's start by going here to similar. This is for making Magneticraft's energy distribution system, which involves poles and copper cables. So in order to make, let's see, I've got these set up here. In order to make the heavy coils, I've already made the ordinary copper coils on a previous occasion. To make the heavy copper coils, I believe it's this one right here with the iron bars surrounded by copper ingots. Let's try that and see if we get the right thing. There we go, 4 heavy copper coils. Alright, now I am also going to need these copper wires, which I've actually made before, but apparently I didn't have them in my inventory long enough for it to register with the quest book. So I'll just make another one here. It's rubber on each side and a copper ingot in the middle. You can also do it with wool in a triangle pattern. That takes 3 wool. Rubber is a little easier to come by for me than wool, so that's all exactly what I'd want to do. Okay, for the electrical poles, the one without the transformer is logs down the middle and heavy copper coil on each side. The one with the transformer is really exactly the same, except that down here in this corner it has one of those copper wires. So let's go ahead and make those. I've got the supplies over here. So there's the basic telephone pole, and if we put a copper wire down there, it does nothing. I bet it's got to be a better copper wire. Let's take a look. It needs low voltage cable from Magneticraft, and what I have is copper wire. So let's get some more rubber. I'll just have to request one of those. And I think this is all we need. Maybe not. I guess these cables are actually different. Maybe I made these before. This is just a copper ingot with 1 rubber bar. So yeah, that's what I made before. Let me go ahead and get a copper ingot here, and I'll make that. So that's my bad. I didn't realize that it was a different item because it looks the same. Okay, so now we have the low voltage cable. We'll just put that in the corner, and we get electrical pole with transformer, which should complete the quest. Okay, this one does not open anything new. It's just the end of the line there. So the next one I want to look at is the capacitors for immersive engineering. These might actually be a cheaper energy storage solution than what I'm currently using. Probably won't store as much power, but it's probably a good thing to have options. So in order to make those, I am going to need a transformer, I think. Let's see what we got here. The low voltage capacitor, maybe not. Um, no, this is for something different. Let me go ahead and set that aside. Sorry, just being a little confused here. I am, however, going to need some treated wood for sure. So let me come in here and get some treated wood. It's just creosote in the middle, so completely surrounded by wood planks, just like that. And it'll get me treated wood planks and get my bottles back. And these go on the bottom in all of these recipes. The other components of the recipes are, for the low voltage one, it's iron ingots across the top, redstone on the bottom, copper ingots on the sides, and lead ingots on the center. The other two follow the same model but with some substitutions. In the medium voltage one, it's got a block of redstone on the bottom and it's got electrum on the sides. And then in the high voltage one, it's got a block of lead in the middle, aluminum on the sides, continuing with a block of redstone on the bottom, and this time it's got steel across the top, so it's got more substitutions. Let's come over here and make the low voltage one first. So redstone on the bottom, copper on the sides, lead on the middle, and iron across the top. Low voltage capacitor. And this will store, I don't know how much this will store. Does it have an interface that will say? No, it doesn't. I'll just break it. Okay, so the medium voltage one is all these components. And the lead goes in the center, the redstone element goes on the bottom, in this case it's a whole block. Then the conductive element goes on the sides, electrum for this one, and then the steel on the top. So there's the medium voltage capacitor. And then the high voltage is these components here. So we have the core of a lead block, the redstone element is a block of redstone, the conductor is the aluminum, and I guess you call it the casing is steel on the top. So there's the high voltage one. That should finish the quest. It did. So the next one here is Thermopower. This is a generator that works off of, I believe, water and lava on opposite sides. So basically it generates power sort of passively from the flow of heat, theoretically from lava to water. So that one is where we're going to need these pieces because we have to have a coil of sorts in the middle. And this is made by copper wires, low voltage wire coils actually, but they are made with copper around a stick, surrounding an iron ingot. So here we have a copper wire coil. And the rest of it is this arrangement right here with steel ingots and Constantan plates. These have to be made, I guess they can probably be made with the hammer, but as a practical matter you'll want to make these in the metal press if you have it, and you should at this point because otherwise it's going to be pretty tiresome making lots of buckets. So we'll put those through there, copper coil in the middle, and we get the thermoelectric generator. I believe this is actually one of the better early game generators, so I will probably go ahead and hook it up. In fact, on my power plant floor I'm probably just going to hook up a whole lot of things almost as demonstration more than for practical use. I think when we move over to the mechanism power plants, we're probably going to find that they just sort of swamp everything else I've got down there in terms of value for power, but we'll find out. Okay, so picking the reward bag. I believe that's actually all I'm going to do on this one today. The other pieces here, let's try the wind turbines because it takes a ton of string to make these, but I think I probably have it since I did all that farming of spiders in the nether. I wasn't really trying to get spiders, but I had to kill a bunch of them to get magma cubes to spawn. So, mesh. Let's make another... Can we make 50 of them? Yes. Okay. In order to make the windmills, these are arranged in sort of a hierarchical pattern. Basically, to make the small one, you need a wood plank with these wind turbine parts surrounding it. And the wind turbine parts are made with fabric. Each fabric actually requires 81 string, so it takes a lot of string to make this thing. So you're going to be making 8 times 4, you're going to be using 24 of these fabric sails just to make the lowest tier one. Then to continue on up, you surround that with more of them to make the next larger size, and you surround that one with even more to make the larger size after that. I actually may not have enough of it here because I've only got 16 mesh so far, but we can rapidly up that some. That is not what I wanted. Let's see. I didn't pick an item first. Mesh. Missing 210 string. So I'm not going to have enough to do that. Let's see if we can go up to 18. No. So I can't even do the first tier one yet, even with all that additional string. So we'll skip on that one for now. Let me put these items aside. We got 1 basic and 2 good reward bags. Salt ore, bins, and essence bricks. So not too useful this time around. Don't need salt ore at all.